philosopher, not a slave, in an unmarked grave that the government decided to pave so we could not save. No man, Indian, no identity. Apples and Macs, computers not computing. Life of a student with no vision. At the mountain pitching, in the middle of a monsoon, every drop insecure in my vision. God is God and it has no religion. Very few of them have come forward publicly. The most recent one was a man who was on a retrieval team in, I believe it was 2011, out in the north of so-called Area 51. And there was a very large ET craft that was stunned with an electromagnetic weapon that came down, but it did not crash. It was stunned. And this man had a very close encounter with two of the ETs that came out of the craft. But that craft eventually was able to restarted itself and took off. I'm telling y'all, boy, we in for one today. I'm gonna show y'all exactly what he's talking about, what stunned the crowd, what made it so it couldn't fly off. Like, bro, like I didn't know that we was in war with fucking aliens out here. Like, what's going on? Like, man, more to come, more to come. Watch this. System that we had put in now at Roswell. Now let me tell you a little bit about the sort of military speak here. A radar system, you and I think of it as just something that sends out a beam and it bounces off the skin of an aircraft and you track tracing. Those systems can also have an active directional energy warfare system attached to it or associated with it, either within the system or very nearby. So that when something is painted or tracked on radar, it's then hit with an electromagnetic weapon. Experimented with in the 30s and 40s. By 1947, this FBI document from a field agent to J. Edgar Hoover, which we have published, states that system was switched on. But I guess what's more crazy is that they so advanced and we shooting them down. Why are they not fighting back or attacking us or anything? Like, are they that friendly? Like I think Americans or humans are a bigger threat than aliens all of a sudden. Like, I would have never imagined that we was going to war with them, and now I'm thinking we've been shooting them down since the 30s and 40s, and why they ain't shut down the whole world? If I had that advanced technology, I would have shut it down. But I guess with that much knowledge and shit comes power and responsibility. So you choose not to kill the people? Is that these extraterrestrial civilizations are a threat. Let me assure everyone, they view us as a threat. Humans are viewed as a threat, not them. And if they were a threat, think about it. We start shooting these things down with electromagnetic systems, scalar, they're called, electromagnetic systems, in the 40s and 50s, 60s. If they were hostile, they're so far advanced with that, they just shut this whole civilization down. Now, it's in the interest of the warmongering, endless war psychopaths and sociopaths to convince the world population that there's a threat from out there, because that's how you unite the whole world. Unfortunately, poor Ronald Reagan was gaslit with this narrative. I'm sure most of y'all seen my last episode of the pod when I was asking, like, why are they releasing so much information? Why are they giving it to us? And is there something out here that's more threatening that they don't see this information as being a threat? Because I imagine that, like, the religious cult or anybody would have, like, came in an uproar once they realized that aliens honestly did exist. Like, it'd change something in, like, mankind, but it didn't. So it made me spark interest, and now with us knowing that we got radars that can, like, lock them in place and shut down these systems for, like, temporary time. Like, we can't shut it down for forever, but we can shut it down for temporarily, stun it. Wait, what are we doing? There are two things that are being confused as one thing. There are both extraterrestrial and man-made UAPs or UFOs. Now, until recently, the people in the government who were looking into this didn't know that. They were being gaslit or deceived by people going up there and saying, well, gee, we have no idea what these are. And one of the top investigators for the Senate who I'm working with, he'd be the equivalent of a 2 or 3 star general if he was still in the military. One went out to the Lockheed Skunk Works, was shown a bunch of old antique jet aircraft, and he knew he was being gaslit, deceived. That's when they called me in. So that was in February of 2022. But they said, well, we got a problem here. We know there's something wrong with this picture. So they now know that was a big lie. The second big lie.
So we got man-made UFOs, and then we got regular UFOs. Is that the reason they telling us about the UFOs? Because now it's starting to come out that we made some and we flying them, or that it's man-made, or drone, or remote operated, or like what's like what the fuck is going on, bro? Like America, man, this is super interesting that we got man-made UFOs and regular UFOs. And what's the difference? Like, how would you know the difference? Like, and why have they been hiding it for so long?
Which is of great concern, is that we don't know how these operate. Well, that's what they want everyone to believe, because if they were acknowledged, we know how these function. We'd be going, then what are we doing making solar panels and windmills when we have something that would be a box this big that would run this building 24 hours a day, rain or shine? Tsunami in 2009. And Michael Herrera and his platoon came across one of these gigantic, about 300-foot diameter, man-made UFOs, offloading weapons, and there were crates. And we later learned, he first thought they were drugs. We later learned from other sources those were people in there being put into slavery. Foot diameter, man-made UFOs, offloading weapons, and there were crates. And we later learned, he first thought they were drugs. We later learned from other sources those were people in there being put into slavery to be used in experimentation.
I'm telling you, bro, like, it's not so hard to believe. But like, how long has this been going on? Like, how long has they been planning? And man, like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
A member of my team who was the spokesperson for Werner von Braun, the guy who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, and who then became part of our aerospace industry back in the 45. He warned on his deathbed that they would hoax an alien threat, and it's all a lie. And that was the plan that they had come up with in the 50s. Years into this sort of a long-term plan to create a hoax, basically. So I tell people, yeah, there are extraterrestrials, aliens, if you want to call them. There are man-made craft. Those are the ones that are a threat. Those are the ones doing abductions, human trafficking, drug trafficking.
That's what it's not hard to believe, man. Like, so if it's advanced civilization out here, and then it's us. We catch a couple of crabs, UFOs, we realize how they work, we make some that look just like that, and then we start abducting our own people and running science experiments and stuff on them. Come up with a system, a radar system that shot shocking those, stun them for a little bit. Aliens come out, we abduct them. I don't know. This seemed like almost like a movie, but that's what we get movies from, reality, right? Philosopher, not a slave on an unmarked grave that the government decided to pave so we could not save no millennium, no identity. Apples and Macs, computers not computing, life of a student with no vision. At the mountain pitching, in the middle of a monsoon, every drop insecure in my vision. God is God and it has no religion.